Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Farmer Tan Podcast.
Whoa.
What?
Foster, man, what are you doing, man?
That's what I do, man. I'm like the golden throat of Gothenburg.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to like intro stuff.
Right. Well, we invited you to be a special guest on the podcast, but I do the intros.
Oh gosh.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, no, go ahead.
All right, fine.
it's
I
your
got your
baby.
back.
It's your baby. You do what you got to do.
Nope. You go ahead and do it. I'm just going to sit here quietly.
All right.
That makes for a great podcast.
Silence.
Here's an hour sitting in silence. You can hear Jake pouting.
From the luxurious studios here at the former Jets and Trucking plant, and I don't know what you would call it, but here we are. Here we are.
It's the Farmer Tan Podcast Broadcast
That's
Studio.
what I meant. The Farmer Tan Broadcast Studio.
Yeah.
Brought to you by the good people that brought us coffee today.
Yeah, which is the
Jake.
Farmer Tan Podcast.
Just Jake.
We're vertically integrated here.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, hey, welcome everybody to the Farmer Tan Podcast. I am Jake in the 308. Finally got the mic away from
Nailed
Scott Foster. And as usual on the south side of the table, because he's from the south side, like way farther south than I am even, Mr. Jared Aiden.
Howdy.
And on the north side, are you a north sider then?
I think so.
I mean,
I grew up, I'm north side of town. I grew
Yeah.
up in northeast Nebraska.
Ooh.
Hey,
I mean,
you're a Jeff. You're a Jeff. Come on.
yeah, the Jeffs, man. Home of the Jeffs. And good hot dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right.
That's
Well,
true.
on the north side of the table, we have Scott Foster. He is, oh man, we have been buddies for like a really long time now.
20 some years, I would say.
It's got to be close.
Yeah.
We both had more hair when we started hanging out. So,
And it was a different color.
yeah. You know, I would be completely fine being completely gray if I just had it all back again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But I would like because the gray is dignified.
Absolutely.
No one has ever said bald is dignified.
No.
They'll try to say bald is beautiful.
Yeah, they're trying too hard.
Not the dignified.
Not unless you're
No.
Mr. Clean
Mr. Clean.
or Michael Jordan.
Yeah, or really buff.
Yeah,
If you're really buff, the
Yeah.
Mr. Clean thing, it works.
that's true.
And you know what's interesting, and we have threatened this like multiple times. If somebody doesn't step up and start sponsoring the podcast pretty quick, we're going to get a video camera
Yeah,
and we're going to go
we're going
live.
hats off.
Yeah, we're going to go live on the video, and you will see how not buff we are.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Well, it's good that we're not doing that today because Jared's got a big old spot in the middle of his.
I spilled coffee on myself. I wasn't supervised in my own defense.
yeah, I'll give the guy a break. It was his first time with a cup. So,
Yeah, not a spill proof, so we'll get there.
we'll get there. All right. So, it is the 31st of December, 2024. So, everybody get the we'll see you next year comments out of the way. And,
Fine.
wintertime has sort of finally came to the Gothenburg area.
Finally. Yeah.
Yeah, today was cold.
It was cold. And now I don't know about you guys. I talked to some people on the air today. By the way, I also work at KRVN. Did I
Yes.
mention that? Yes.
I don't know. We didn't get that far.
Oh, sorry. I stopped you at north part of the table.
Yeah, we got
never went
derailed.
past that.
That's
So-
what when you go north, that's what happens. You get all
I get that.
you get all
I get
messed
that.
up.
But, some folks got some pretty good amounts of snow last night. Even had a car from Sumner that had a bunch of snow on it. And I think it snowed for about 2 minutes here. And that was about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if that much.
If.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've barely
so-
seen a snowflake.
I
This
know it.
Yeah, so but we are cold and it did feel damp today.
Yep.
And
Good
the wind.
breeze as usual in Nebraska.
Yep.
Help
And
make
the
it that much colder.
and the wind blew approximately 1,000 miles an hour
No.
yesterday.
That could
So-
have been more than 500.
Yeah, a gust to 1,000.
I guess it's
And anyway, so yeah, we are, we just thought we would invite Scott in. Like I said, Scott and I have been buddies for a long time. You may know that smooth, buttery voice from KRVN on the 880 side.
880 side
Yep.
and on the Cammy side.
Yeah,
and the,
Cammy.
The
Listen to Cammy all the
midday
time.
host of country classics.
Yeah. So if you're a listener to that, and if you're not, shame on you.
I've actually got a story to go with that, if you don't mind.
Jump in,
Go
man.
ahead.
So, first time I spent much time around Scott, we were moving my cousin Josh from Gothenburg to get ready to go to Omaha. And I'm sure we bumped into each other a couple of times, but I was sitting there, I'm like, I should really know who that guy is. I cannot figure it out. I know your son, Alec. I've hung out with him, played basketball with him. So I know you're together. And man, for some reason, it just wasn't clicking. And I'm like, man, it's just one of those things I don't recognize. It's not coming to me, but I should know that guy. So when we get done, we packed. Took a couple hours. We went out to eat. We sat down in a restaurant. I'm holding up a menu, and then Scott says something, and I'm staring at my menu without looking at him. Like, that's Scott Foster. That's the guy.
That's a guy.
It's
on
like
the
that makes
radio.
sense. It's like I was looking at him talking, it never clicked. But once I was staring at something else and heard the voice in the background, I knew exactly who it was.
Yeah.
I'm like this. Well, that I'm like, of course, that makes sense now.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
You know, it was a little bit like the TV show Home Improvement. You know, all you ever saw of Wilson,
Yeah,
you know, was
Half of
his
his
eyeballs.
face.
Yeah, right. And so I think if you ever saw him face on, you wouldn't recognize.
It's probably
you know?
true. It's
Yeah.
probably true. Well, I've always said, I have a face for radio, and so the if this is a smooth, buttery voice, it doesn't work for the whole smooth, buttery looks either. So
can't have it all. Huh?
Can't have it all. So
Hey.
that's
Yeah, we just we do the best we can with what we've been given, which is why we're on the radio and not on the
That's
TV.
right. So keep that camera out of here.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll look for the check in the
Maybe I'll-
mailbox.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. You may also recognize Scott from, let me think, calling basketball on the radio, potentially there. You may recognize him from being the MC at Dancing with the Stars. Gothenburg does their own version, hometown version of that, raise a ton of money for the movie theater outfit. And actually, he had the privilege this year of emceeing that when yours truly won.
You want it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, I was going to say that for you, but you just go ahead and pat yourself.
That was, he did just jump in on that.
Yeah,
I would say Alex was a real big part of you winning that, but
Yeah.
she was pretty good too.
it takes two, Jake.
It does. And she was actually all of
Really,
the reason I won
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
you brought a certain je ne sais quoi to it, though, that really brought it home for everybody. And and I should say that the people vote on that, so it's not like a couple of judges decided.
That's right.
The whole audience voted, and you were the winner.
A lot of bribe money.
Yeah.
There was.
Do you have any idea how much it cost to pay off everybody in the audience? It was ridiculous.
No, I should say, I mean, how serious Jake took it. He comes to Bible study the week before with, it's Coban, vet wrap, all,
it
on
was
both wrists and maybe a shoulder. I don't, an elbow.
ankle.
Yeah. I mean, just completely Coban'd up from practicing.
And actually, it was legitimately vet wrap.
Well, I learned to be in an EMT. It's technically called Coban.
Oh,
It's the first
Coban.
time in the ambulance I learned the label. I was like, what's Coban? Someone said vet wrap. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
got
I
it.
gotcha.
Got it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like you were all in. You guys
I
were
did.
very aggressive
We
with
were.
your dance styles,
We were.
and it paid off.
And in my mind, I mean, we danced up a storm.
Sure did.
And then I went back and watched the video, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna quit watching that. Some things are best left to memory. So
I think that's true.
yeah. So that was good. So now we're not going to talk about that no more.
Okay.
Scott, what do you got going on, man? What's going on in life right now?
gosh. Just got my daughter married off last weekend. So Michelle and Austin got married. And so
Awesome.
that was a big life change and interestingly difficult because I officiated the wedding.
Oh,
too.
yes.
Oh, wow.
So,
So
yeah.
you couldn't be tearing up.
No, well, in Michelle's as she's as unemotional and soul dying as I am typically. And I looked up at her when we first started and she had tears in her eyes
Oh,
and I'm
no.
going, this is
Yeah.
not going to work
Yeah.
real well.
No,
and
no.
so I didn't look at her the rest of the time.
You can't.
She was
I mean, father of the bride can tear up a little bit.
right.
Preacher man?
Preach is tough.
No, you
It's
can't.
tough.
You can't be.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So that's
good though.
that was good.
Yeah.
And they'd gone out for 7 years. He's from Gothenburg
Oh,
also.
wow.
So we did it at the Dawson County Museum in Lexington.
Nice.
So we took one of the churches that's there
Oh,
as an
yeah.
exhibit,
Yeah.
cleaned her all up, painted her up, and we did it in there. And then we had the reception at the museum.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Pretty different.
awesome.
Pretty
Yeah,
different. So that was fun. But,
well, and it's fun to be different.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And she
good.
wanted to. That's what she wanted to do. And then, you go to a hall or something for a reception, you just kind of sit there, you got to look at each other and talk. Museum, you could look around, you could walk around and learn
That's very
stuff.
true. That would be really good for introverts.
See?
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a whole
You've
bunch.
got me hooked.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a whole bunch of old stuff there besides, the aunts and uncles. So
It's the in-laws that you could talk to. And it was, that was not my in-laws.
Or mine.
Or yours.
No,
or anybody's in-laws. No.
No.
But it was, it was good. So,
I mean, we're not saying grandma's a relic, but I mean, come on, right? All right.
all right, so,
Hey,
but
Grandma Lori, how you doing?
I'm not talking about Lori at all. That's not going to happen.
No,
But-
we love Grandma.
no,
man.
she's awesome. But it's been fun. I'm the co-host of the morning show at KRVN each morning,
Sure.
and then I go over and do the cami from 10 to 2, and
Yeah.
then I fill in wherever. Now tomorrow I'm solo ride, so I got to get up at 4:30 and head over
Oh,
and
wow.
Ugh.
open things up.
Drew the short straw on that.
Well,
They said, "Hey, does anybody not have plans?"
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
exactly what it was.
that's
So
all right.
It's all right, but it's fun.
Are you still do much for cutting ads and doing copy
Sure.
and all that stuff?
Sure,
And-
every day I
Yep.
do. We have spots that we do and things like that.
Which I mean, I know that because I listen, but there's probably people that aren't listening. So
Thanks, I appreciate that. That was a nice little corollary there. But it's enjoyable. I don't mind doing that at all. I will do some football. Don't do a lot of basketball because I'm the PA guy here in Gothenburg.
Yep.
So I don't do a lot of that anymore. So that's fun, and I'm still filling in as a preacher, as you know, because
Yeah.
you filled in for me as
Yeah.
I was filling in back in Elm Creek.
True
back in
story.
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were very popular
well,
with the Kalachi folks, if I remember
boy,
right.
and they made good kolaches too.
Yes, she
Yeah.
did. She made good ones.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
It's funny. So back in the day when we were doing a bunch more farming and, football on the radio on Friday nights or whatever,
Yeah.
and be picking corn there or whatever. And I would text Scott things like, work this into the broadcast. And I'd give him words that were maybe not the easiest to work into,
Yeah.
like plethora.
Plethora.
Oh, wow.
That's a tough one to get. And I think on one play, there was a plethora of holding on that play.
There was a plethora of flags.
Yeah, yes.
I think it was a plethora of flags. Toughest one I ever got, I think, I don't know if it was from you, but they sent me the word conjoined twins.
That
Oh,
was
wow.
that was not from me.
That was not from you.
That would be tough.
And
Boy.
and so I was sitting there, and my son Alec was helping me do stats, and I showed him conjoined twins, and he's like, "There's no way you're going to be able to do that." And at some point during the game, two of the offensive players went through the line of scrimmage kind of together,
Yeah.
and so I punch Alec on the back, and I go, and I said, they went through the line like a couple of conjoined twins.
Yes.
And I got it.
Nailed
And so
it.
it's a little bit of
Nailed it.
victory. For
Now,
me.
you mean I'm not the only one
No,
that's it?
you were not.
Wow, I find that hard to believe.
The principal at Holdridge would occasionally send me a rat on a Cheeto.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So they
wow.
jumped on the fumble like a rat
on a Cheeto. Yeah.
So how hard is it to do high school football games where you don't have spotters or anything like that?
It
Or
can't
I
be-
mean monitors in the
Yeah,
or anything.
that's a good question, Jared, because as I'm getting older, it's getting harder. And one of the things that I've really noticed is if you ever see a football jersey that's like red and black numbers,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
cuss them out because it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to see. And Lexington
thinking-
is orange on black.
Yeah.
And so just those can be hard.
And like the new jerseys fit so skin tight and you
Right.
start getting wrinkles in. It's not like
Oh,
our
yeah.
day where, the jersey went down to your knees to make sure it stayed tucked in and there's
Yeah.
big block numbers that
That's right.
Well, and
Yeah.
I mean, at least in this part of the world, we're not rolling with our names on the jerseys either. So do you have a big cheat sheet and you're like number 9, number 9,
Yeah,
like,
for sure. So typically I will have the whole roster taped up somewhere. I mean, I've talked to the coaches. I've probably watched film before the game, so I kind of know who the main players are.
Mhm.
oh yeah.
So you get a pretty good idea. You're going to know the skill people. But The nice thing about football is it's not nearly as fast as, say, like volleyball.
Oh, okay.
Right,
Volleyball is really difficult because you've got to memorize everybody because there's no time to look down. And basketball's kind of like that, but volleyball especially can be. I mean, Jason Jorgensen is the best at it. Tyler Cavalli is very good. We got lots of good people, but volleyball's
I was going to say, best thing that ever happened to me in my high school football career was my name got switched on the roster with somebody else.
Yeah.
Best game I ever played.
Is that right?
Yeah, they were actually
Congratulations.
out there making tackles and they come over the PA and
Now you were Eustace Farnham, right?
Right, Eustace Farnham.
My very first football game I ever called for KRVN was in Farnham.
No kidding. Yeah.
And that old
Crow's
Russ
Nest,
Holland and I did in that old rickety, and there was some wind, and we thought it was over with. But it was such a cool thing because all cars parked around the field, and
I didn't know that wasn't a thing. Well, I mean, it's not a thing as much anymore, but it's just everybody pulled up in their cars, and there was always an announcement over. Count it,
Hey,
plate
turn off your
60 dash, this, your lights are on. Please turn off your lights.
That's right.
Because it's about the time when cars started coming out with driving lights.
Oh, yeah.
The only way to turn them off with the key running, if you wanted heat, was to put your emergency brake on, and not everybody knew that trick. So they're over there, then they turn their full lights on as they're trying to turn their parking lights off. It was a fiasco.
Oh, yeah.
You know where else that's a problem now?
Where's
It
that?
doesn't happen very often. My old high school, they have a drive-in movie theater still in Neely.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to a movie this summer, and the number of people who their lights would turn on because they needed the radio to listen to the thing, and so you had to figure out how to do that. So everybody's on their phone. How do I?
Yeah, Googling how to shut off my automatic lights.
Yeah.
So my wife reminds me, not as much as my boys, but they all remind me that I'm getting old a little bit, which is fair.
That's fair.
And so the school bus comes to a central location on our side of the river, and they pick up, a whole bunch of kids in one spot or whatever. And so take the boys to the bus. Well, this time of year, it's in the dark, and we are just never the first ones there. So I'm usually
sort of like today.
Yeah, much like this evening. And so I'm usually pulling up behind another car who is already there, but oftentimes we still have to wait for the bus. And so I don't want to be, especially if I'm in the pickup, shining the lights right in, their back window or mirrors or whatever. I will shut them just either to shut the auto part off just to park lights, or just shut it clear off. Right. Okay, fine. Bus comes, boys get on. By then it's a little lighter or whatever. So I take off, and then, I drive home in the dark because it never occurred to me to flip them back to auto. Or what is maybe even worse is like, nope, it's still dark. And instead of turning them back onto auto, I just turn them on.
Yeah.
And then you leave them on.
Yes. And then I get to work and I get out of the pickup, and like 2 hours later, Aaron comes in like, why'd you leave the lights on in the pickup? That is
I have an old enough truck, an old Toyota Tacoma that's still there's no auto, so you got to remember. And then it's even got the roll down windows.
Oh man, yeah. So all right, so the lights on that, is it a knob or is it a pull switch yet?
It is. It's just on the blinker.
Oh yep.
Okay.
Oh,
On the
okay.
blinker thing right there, but it's just on and off.
Yep.
Basically.
Do you dim them with the blinker, or do you got the extra little switch on the
Still
floor?
blinker. No,
Okay,
no,
all right.
it's
Well,
not
I
that
didn't know
old.
how.
No,
well,
that's good. No, that's a good question.
I didn't
It's
know.
Not. I know. I like telling my kids that too.
I like the floor dimmer. That was kind of handy.
Oh, yeah.
really.
I really.
Yeah.
It worked pretty good.
Yeah.
What was your first? As I take over the podcast for a moment, what was your first car?
Yeah, and so I was going to tell you that as well. Like, feel free to ask questions, interview us, do whatever.
Because that's kind of what I do.
Do it, man.
Yeah.
Take it over. Yeah. All right. So first car that I owned with my own money, or just first car that I drove?
First car that you drove. So you turned 16. What car did you get?
Yep. So 14, because school permit.
Oh, sure.
And I had a 1988 Chevy Celebrity.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't even know what those are.
Think of like little old lady, blue hair.
Oh, okay.
Like it was a 4-door. It was probably
like a LeSabre kind of style.
Wasn't that big?
Oh.
It was the answer to the Ford Fairmont, kind of. It was
Yeah.
that very boxy.
very.
Yeah.
It was
Very
completely
boxy.
square.
Yep.
It actually came from a relative. It was pretty low miles, and he had actually taken really good care of it. I had the 2.8 liter
Oh,
in mine.
look.
So big pavement pounding 4-cylinder. A lot of them, a lot of the celebrities were only 2.3s.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I had a half a liter more than the rest
Man.
of the clowns. And yeah.
So 88.
Yep, 88.
In what year did you start at 14? How old were you?
Oh, that probably would have been 98.
Okay,
roughly.
so about 10 years old. That's not bad.
That's
Yep.
not bad.
That's a little bougie of you. You wanna go-
Well, and okay, so I was thinking about that the other day actually, and boy, that seemed kind of old back then, right? Old car, whatever else.
Wait till I tell you mine.
Well, but I did the math on that, and when Tanner starts driving, he will need to drive a 17 to be in that same
No
10-year
kidding.
span.
That's not happening.
I better be driving a 17 when he starts driving. All right, like, he ain't getting that one. All right,
Okay.
all right. So that was mine.
That was yours, Jared. What do you got? First car.
So our school car was a Saturn, and I don't know that they had models. I mean, I'm sure they did, but it was a sedan.
Just a car.
Like they
It was
just
a
had
car.
one line of
Yeah,
sedans
I got you.
basically. So
Yep.
it was a Saturn sedan, and I mean that thing was a plastic, no power, 4-cylinder. But that thing did well. It finally I can't remember how many years it made it, but there was one year it was almost like it's probably 09, I'm guessing, almost like
Okay.
a 19. The county roads just turned to straight mud, and we climbed our last big hill home. Scott's mic
Fell
falls off the tea kettle.
teapot.
Because that's how every audio booth is set up. You put your microphone on a tea kettle.
Please stand by. The Farmer Tan podcast is currently experiencing technical
Sudden
difficulty.
gust of gravity.
Sudden gust of gravity.
What you cannot see here, real quick, pause for the cause. Scott Foster is like 10.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I have the only lowrider chair in the whole building. I got it set down on the floor like a bull hauler. Our mics are short, even with them extended up, like we've got to hunch over to get to them. Scott couldn't come close. And so on the old wood burner stove, we got a cast iron teapot. And so we swiped that to put the mic on, and yeah, suddenly
Just came off. So occasionally you may hear a horrible sound.
yeah, so we're all fine. Nobody got terribly hurt. All right, go ahead, Jared.
I know my Saturn story had people floored.
It did. I mean,
Just like the Saturn was.
Yeah, that's right.
Needed-
Yeah, we had to climb the last big hill one day in that mud, and that overheated it, and that finished that
And that
poor
was
thing
it?
off. But
Mhm.
we had relatives that had well over 200,000 on their car, same kind of model, and it did everything we wanted to. So
Was the Saturn, wasn't Chevy involved in that? Maybe that was later on.
I can't remember if they were part of the
I
GM
think-
thing at
yeah,
the time.
I think there was like there were a few models that came out, like the Geo. Remember the Geos that were kind of a couple different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like somebody would make the body, like the body was made
Okay.
by Toyota and the engine was made by
Or like an AMC. They were that.
But this Saturn, I can't remember if it had cruise or not, roll down windows. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
pretty bare bones, but I remember
You know-
thinking that.
I was trying to remember if mine had roll down well, obviously the windows rolled down, but I can't
Yeah,
remember.
if it was a push button or.
I honestly
Yeah.
cannot remember. I think they were hand cranked.
Yeah.
I'll bet you they would have been.
Yeah.
I think they were. Yeah.
So.
The Celebrity wasn't an Impala. I mean, it wasn't.
Despite the name, it wasn't super fancy.
It wasn't.
I was more of a celebrity than
Yeah,
it
it
was.
really was. Yeah. Well, my first car, because my dad had inherited it from
Well,
his
hey,
dad.
hey, time out. What year was
Oh,
the
sorry.
Saturn?
Oh, man, I knew someone was going to ask that.
He thought you got
I think,
away with
I think
one.
it's an 02.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
that's not
14, I would have been, golly, when did we get that? I graduated 09. So probably 05-ish, 06-ish.
Oh, it was quite new.
It was pretty,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a sought after car.
People were trying
Yeah.
to steal it.
No.
You could leave the keys in it.
Oh,
and farm
yeah,
them and
it
you were
was
okay.
safe. Yeah, and if
Okay.
they did, I mean, you could probably catch them pretty easy. I remember my driving test, I took that car, and it was at Stockfields where we did our driving test. That's a Frontier County seat, smallest county seat
Yep.
in the whole state. But you came out of town, and you took a left turn, you went up a hill to the top, and that's where you did your emergency stop. And I was driving up the hill and was only doing about 45 and a 60. And the driver instructor's like, you can go faster if you want. I'm like, no, I can't.
I
I
really
got
would
this
love
thing.
to.
About. I was like,
Yeah.
we got this thing. This is as good as this car's going to do.
I got the pedal buried, buddy.
45 up this hill. It's not going to grab that last gear. It's not going to do it.
I'm guessing that was probably a smaller engine than your Celebrity.
Probably.
I just
bet
wonder if it
like
was
a
a sub 2
1.7 or
liter.
something,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was. Yeah, there was no risk of us getting in drag racing trouble.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
Okay, so I'm much older than you guys, first of all, but this car had been inherited from my grandfather by my dad, and then I inherited it from my dad.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a 1964
Oh yeah.
Plymouth Fury
Yes.
with the push button transmission, right? So you pushed for drive,
No
and you
kidding.
pushed for
Yeah,
reverse.
yeah.
She was good.
2-door, 4-door?
It was a four-door.
Yeah, four-door.
It was a four-door white. I thought it would be cool to name it like Christine had just come out, and it was a Chrysler product, so I was going to name it. And my friends just named it Ethel. So,
you'll have
that's a
that.
bummer.
you know, they didn't.
That's what friends are
my
for.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I unfortunately my dad was a car salesman, and I had a little bit of that in my blood,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I ended up selling it not too long. I'd love to have it still. I mean,
Yeah.
it's sweet.
Big
If you only knew then what
Yeah,
they would,
right,
what
right.
they are now.
So
But-
that was like 86.
Oh, wow.
Yikes.
So it was a good 20 years old. She was an antique by the
Boy,
time.
yeah. 64, big motor in that then?
Probably, but I don't know that I paid that much attention. back
Yeah,
then.
I was
mean,
trying
it
to
wasn't
think.
a very big car. This wasn't the huge Furies that took
Yeah.
up a half a city block. It was a
Yeah.
little smaller, but I'm sure it had a V8. I'm sure it had a
Wasn't a 440 with a 6-pack.
no,
nothing
no,
like that.
no. But there may have been a couple times that I got it going pretty fast. It did go 120
I
once.
was gonna say the
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, my.
vehicle
Which-
I learned to drive on was a '64 Ford F100.
Oh, there you
so,
go.
Yeah,
Nice.
called it Old Tan.
Old Tan.
It's a great name.
All right. So you sort of alluded to that already. Both of you, I know, have had named vehicles. Are you both like historically namers of vehicles, or it just sort of happened?
No, I always kind of thought it was. I mean, I had people trying to name my pickup in high school, and I was like, no, we're not
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Like I said, the one I had, the most recent one, I got in an accident with Karen. That came because the people I bought it from, his names were Keith and Sharon, and we just kind of meshed
sure.
it together as a joke, and it stuck.
Yeah.
That's what we ended up calling it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I thought, I kind of gave into peer pressure with trying to name it
Oh,
Christine.
yeah.
I really didn't care that much. And
Yeah.
so when they ruined it with Ethel, from then on, I really didn't care.
Yeah.
Soured it.
Yeah.
That's, sometimes we will nickname our vehicles, but it's more like size or color or,
Yeah.
Whatever. We have Mom's pickup.
Mhm.
We have the black pickup.
Uh-huh.
We have my old Chevy pickup.
Yep.
Like-
Functional.
Yeah,
Functional.
functional
name.
name.
And then we have Vanna White,
Oh,
I get it.
which is a
Because
white
it's a
Dodge
van.
van.
White.
Yeah,
I like that.
there you
I
go.
like that.
Yep.
I like that.
But
Now,
yeah.
a little foreshadowing. Noah, the Korean corn farm, names tractors everything. Has a
Really?
people name. Yep.
Hmm.
So
Well, tune in to a future episode.
that's
of
right.
There you go.
That to catch that.
We'll learn
some
this-
of that. Nice.
This whole family tree of vehicles. I'm having a hard time keeping track.
On the tractor side, we never really, if it was like the only one on the farm that was that way, we just called it like whatever it was, right? Like the
Like it's
Alice.
a 30,
8300.
20, or it's a- yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right. But there was once upon a time we had 2 Magnums.
Mm.
So the original boxcar Magnums. And then we actually had one of the newer Magnums all at the same time. And so, we had the 30 was the 7130.
Okay.
And then we also had a 7120. And then the other one, it was that weird time when Case IH wasn't sure if they were going to be MX tractors or Magnum tractors.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just called it the MX,
Okay.
or whatever. But we also had a couple of the old IHs. So we had the 8 and the 14, which was an 856 and a 1456. We just shortened them to whatever because you can't be like, go get the red tractor. And like, well,
Yeah.
there's 6 of
There's
them.
I always
of those.
wondered what you do if you have 2 of the same models because we always called them by models. It's the
Well,
4430
then it was-
and the 48. But what if you had 2 4430s?
Well, we had the cab tractor and we had the loader
And the rest of 'em.
tractor. Right. Yeah. And they were all, I think it was a 4240 was the cab tractor.
Oh, yeah.
Then we had 2 3020s, but one was a loader tractor. So if you just
Okay.
say go get the
Get the
3020, then
There you
you got that.
Or if you said get the loader tractor.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to modify one to make
little
them separate.
slight
yeah.
modify. Yeah, that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
And isn't it funny, the little, I don't even know what you'd call it, but the little idiosyncrasies or whatever that go with weird. So we had 2 semis and one was a Peterbilt and one was an International. And the Peterbilt was always the Pete
Sure.
and the other one was the white truck. And I don't know why.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as good as Pete, does it?
It really doesn't.
Hey, I got the Pete and the white truck both loaded. Just grab
Pete and the
whichever
white
one
truck.
you need,
National. Yeah. White truck's better.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think
Yep.
that was a good
That's
choice
a good-
on your part. Yeah.
Less
For sure.
syllables are better. I mean,
Well,
they got to
that's-
be one syllable.
And just a little side note on that. So my wife, she is able to drive a semi actually quite well.
Yeah, your wife is way more of a man than I've ever been.
Yeah.
She can do all that stuff.
Yep.
man.
Yep.
No
And
doubt.
she actually really well. And once upon a time, when we picked up that second truck, and I don't remember, but we were hauling a bunch of corn, and I kind of needed help. And I said, "Hey, I need you to help haul corn." And she's like, "Well, which truck do you want me to drive?" And I was like, "You just pick whichever one you want." And I think she drove the white truck a little bit. And then one day she's like, "I want to drive the Pete." And I said, "Okay." Like, I am so thankful for your help. You just do, which for those of you at home, our Peterbilt was kind of a red. It was
The 379 one.
Yep. It was a 379. We had 7-inch bull hauler stacks with donkey ears on them. And
C15 in it.
yeah, although at that time it was still a 3406
Okay.
E model.
E model. Yep.
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 And 15 speed with a set of low holes in it. And
now we're talking.
it would go. We had chicken lights.
You never got it back, did you?
No.
So you're on the white truck now. You're on the white truck.
I drove the white truck forever after that. If two of us were in motion at the same time, I drove the white truck.
I have no doubt.
And, I used to ride with the seat clear on the floor, and I still do that. And I did not look cool in the white truck with the seat on the floor. I was just mostly trying to hide. Not that there's anything against international trucks. I mean, we still have a different one now, but that particular international, I think it was a 9200i.
Okay.
And
Not
so
the
just
9900s that kind of
no,
got the square hood.
no,
Yeah.
this was, forgive me. It was styled somewhat like a Freightliner Columbia. I mean, it was kind of the slope nose and just a fleet truck sort of looking thing. It was a day cab, white stripes. I mean, it was
They don't spend a whole lot of time on making day cabs look too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
it was functionality. It was a great truck, but it was hard to look cool in it.
Yeah.
So today's New Year's Eve, as you've alluded.
I've heard.
And so I took a look today to see the ball that's dropping at New York City. I wanted to get some information.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
So let me give you some information.
All right,
This.
let it rip.
You guys can respond to this. The ball itself is 6 tons.
Oh.
Okay, so it's meaty.
Hmm.
There are over 30.
How many Saturns is that?
Let's see, 6 tons, probably 10.
I was gonna say it's got a bigger engine too. So also there are 32,000 lights.
Hold on a second. What was that?
I know.
I think a
was trying
fly
to help
flew
you
in
out.
your coffee is just going to get you for you chuck a drink of it.
Oh man,
Sorry, Scott.
Oh, that is
There
I just
is.
wanted to save Jake from.
that is the
there is a
Excuse me, waiter. There's a
Look at
fly
that.
in my soup.
there's a fly in my soup.
The backstroke. I love it.
trying to be
Yeah, what's he doing in
just
there?
trying to be discreet about it. Jake's just
There's-
like looking at his arm.
There's no way to sign. There's a fly in your coffee.
All right, you keep going. I'll
Yeah,
just let me rinse
you
this
guys
out.
go do that. So anyway, I feel like this isn't as an important story again. Now,
No,
but
sorry.
this actually, the first ball drop was in 1907.
Oh, it's that old.
Yeah, so they've been doing this for a long time, and it was obviously much smaller with like 224 bulbs on it. But this thing has, like I said, 32,000 lights are all LED.
Good night.
And so they can all change colors. So there's like 80,000 different color
Oh,
schemes
my
they can
goodness.
use with this. And I'm thinking we could probably do a lot of good with how much it costs.
You know it?
But-
Oh, yeah.
There will be, what did they say, 120 million people that'll go towards New York City for this. And
Wow.
That
just
is a lot.
craziness. And it's going to rain like crazy.
Is it really?
bummer.
Tonight's it's going to rain, and you can't have umbrellas there because of security. So
Oh,
No
sure.
kidding.
You just got to stand there and
it's got to stand there and get wet.
I remember the other one year for the New Year's Eve thing. I mean, this is how national media always works, but it can be 40 below in Fargo, North Dakota, and Good Morning America won't even mention it. But one year it's going to be 13 degrees at midnight in New York City. And boy, we got 2 hours of coverage of how to stay warm in these frigid temperatures.
Going to affect 5 million people.
So it's just like, well, 13 at midnight for this time of year, yeah, that's not bad.
And for New York, aren't they used to that as well?
I would think so.
I think Northeast would be. But
yeah, anytime there's a cold snap on the East Coast, oh my goodness, it's just a panic. But
that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I don't have any urge to go to Times Square and see the ball drop.
Okay. I would like to go to Times Square sometime to see it, but to your point, no desire to go tonight.
No,
which we would have to hurry if we were going to make it yet tonight. But
I wonder how many Nebraska football fans maybe hung around after the Pinstripe Bowl to go to that. Few.
Yeah, if you had a little vacation time anyway.
It's only 3 days later.
Yeah, why not?
You're there.
Right? Yeah. I will say you're talking about the ball dropping, and I don't know how old I was, probably 10 or 12, and spending the night at Grandma and Grandpa's, and so watching all the New Year's Eve stuff on TV. And they kept talking about this ball dropping at Times Square. And I was so disappointed that they didn't just kick that dude off the top of a building and let it, I thought that was the point, right? And so to your point, 6-ton ball, all it does is slowly makes its way down this pole. Who cares? Push it off the top of the building, kaboom.
Yeah,
they can knock that off the top of the new World Trade Center.
Yeah.
That's a show.
Yes,
and that's
what I'm saying. You could sell multiple millions of tickets.
Make it like that cheese rolling down the hill in London or
whatever. Oh, yeah.
You go chase the New Year's Eve ball. You just let it go down right down the middle of the street.
I'm any of that.
20 million people chase after it. First one that gets it.
Gets $1.
We could start this in the South Hills. Just go out here in the canyons.
Oh, man. Can you imagine
go
the
in the
velocity?
canyons.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I think we got something.
You still got that Saturn?
I was thinking that might be like a seeing a man from Snowy River to go off one of those steep hills.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody else stands there, and there's that one guy that just cracks his whip and takes off down after.
Right?
Could be a good day to the ball.
Right. And then you realize it was just the camera angle, and they were standing on flat ground.
Right.
It's true. It's true.
The good news
that'd
is...
be Owen. That would be the one.
It would.
Owens for sure.
It would be. The good news with all the LEDs is that's just one 110 extension cord to power that thing now.
That's all it is.
Yeah, 80. How many lights did you say?
32,000.
Yeah, so
it's not.
That's a good corn population. That's probably where they got that.
I bet you're right.
Yeah,
that's probably what it is.
And 80,000 color combinations.
I think that's what it was.
And it'll just be white. So, because.
But eventually, maybe on the way down, they do something.
Make it.
It's all drones anyway, right? So
is it all drones? What is up with all those drones?
Listen, here's the thing.
I want to hear the thing.
Remember when we had all those drones?
Nobody cared.
Right.
Now, like your weather comment.
Right on the East Coast.
They were all over the place, and then we got COVID. So, I'm not saying, but so it's just interesting that they made such a huge deal out of that. Yeah. And, they know what it is. Well, somebody knew what was going on then. And
okay, we try not to get political.
Yeah, let's not.
On the Farmer Tan podcast. However, and I am not advocating doing something you shouldn't. So check local listings to determine. All I'm saying is if you somehow collected one out of the air and had it in your possession, and maybe you let law enforcement do this. From what I gather, local sheriff's departments are also agitated. See who shows up to get it.
Sure.
Now we'll know.
Then we'll know.
Maybe they were just drones practicing for the light show.
Maybe. But I'm not sure they're around anymore because I haven't heard them talking about it.
Well, it's because it's cold now. And so they're talking about it being 13 degrees. Drones, it's 13 degrees, man. That's so
focus.
Yeah, that's last week's lunch menu. We don't care about that. Okay, so Farmer Tan podcast, we do kind of try to focus around ag a little bit. No.
Okay.
And so for those of you that don't know, though, you are not unfamiliar with the ag industry. Because you grew up, if I remember correctly, raking hay on a John Deere B, which is why you went into broadcasting and not farming. That's exactly right. The most miserable day of your life.
It was I was not a farm kid. I'm originally a California kid. I'm a native Californian. I was born in San Diego.
Sorry to hear that.
That's right. So
how are the Padres doing for you?
Hey, They were in
Hey,
the playoffs.
they were good.
They,
They
just,
were
they were
good.
the best team in baseball. They just forgot they had to play a couple more games. Anyway,
You'll have that. Chargers? No.
Don't.
Whoop, whoop. Sorry.
They moved to Los Angeles and broke my heart. I hate them.
Yeah, but they're still from California.
Okay.
Aren't all you
But
guys
they're
the same?
No. Oh, wow. Do not call San Diego and LA the same. That's a
Oh, is it not?
no.
It's okay.
Okay, you need to stop.
Same thing as San Francisco, though.
No,
Yeah,
gosh.
don't you guys just
All right.
you have a,
Anyway, let's move on.
you have like a bridge and some produce and
I have a bridge. Yes, we have bridges. We
in
also
San
have-
Fran, the big one.
Oh, yes. I don't know. I've never been to San Fran.
Oh, you haven't?
Do you know how big California is? It's a long ways to San Francisco from Southern California.
I'm just starting to think it's not far enough from here. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, you grew
So
up
my
in-
point is,
on
I
the
have
beach.
a unique.
Were you a beach bum?
No,
No.
we were inland. We were
Okay.
inland.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's
But
a
you know what?
there's a lot of coastline.
There is a lot of coastline, and we, there's pretty good things grown there.
Yeah.
I mean, agriculture in California is a big deal.
Like
Like happy cows.
not just marijuana, but there is other stuff. The San Joaquin Valley is the San Fernando
yeah.
Valley is,
almonds. That's what. Why did you instantly go to hemp products?
because I felt that was the direction you were going to go with
Just
it.
trying
No.
to cut ahead.
I was trying to knock it off at the pass.
In industrial hemp, you can make
Absolutely, rank
Yeah.
ropes.
right. All right, go ahead.
So anyway, I left California when I was 4. So okay, I didn't have a whole lot of that.
Thankfully.
I went back there in March. It was just fine.
I'm sure it is. Oh, okay. Real
Can
quick.
we move on?
All right.
So
we are ripping on
rabbit holing this big time.
we are ripping on California a little bit, but however,
All our California listeners will not be happy.
no.
Yeah,
but
all
if
too
you
well.
are in California, hey, we understand there is a lot of phenomenal agriculture out there.
Oh,
We
yeah.
understand there's a lot of awesome people out there.
And we feel for you happen to be in a
Oh,
state
man.
where the legislation is probably 90%
Yeah.
against you.
And just know, like, we are not picking on you guys. Like,
No.
we love our farmers and
Yeah.
ranchers and produce people and all the folks in California.
Mhm.
They really do. I mean,
But-
I think you forget about the amount of
Yeah.
agriculture that is in California. It's really
Number
something,
one
but-
grossing state in the nation.
Yeah.
And so we do appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
We're just giving Scott a
I
bad
was
time.
not. No, that's fine. And
All right, go ahead.
Totally. We moved back. My dad wasn't a farmer. My dad passed away at 15. When I was 15, he was older, and so my mom remarried. And when she got remarried, she married a farmer. So all of a sudden, at about 17, I'm
Now
now
you're a farm kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was I didn't grow up on a farm, but yeah. So there were days, and I didn't know anything about anything. And he sticks me on a B John Deere, a Pop Johnny with a hand clutch,
Oh, yeah.
with the sweep teeth and the wooden sweep
Oh,
teeth
goodness.
out there. Yeah.
Wow.
And breaking sweep teeth like a crazy man. They were making so much fun of me, but bumblebees chasing me around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You'll have that.
That was, but as I look back, pretty great experience. But boy, just looking up at the clouds going, seriously, can you give me some rain somewhere? I need the rest of the day off.
Right.
Because it's always July.
It's a drop of rain too
Right.
much to
Something-
ask.
And that was putting up hay.
Yeah,
we
oh, yeah.
were stacking it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And so we were sweeping it around and somebody was throwing it. That was fun. It wasn't fun. I take that back. But it was,
Well, it's
as I
better
look
in
back on
memory.
It is. It was better, much better in memory. But it was a good experience. I learned a lot about farming and merely made me appreciate, because, when we talk to folks at KRVN and we go to these farm shows and we do some of this stuff, some of it I don't really understand a whole lot about. But I tell you, there is so much innovation now in agriculture. It's incredible. And that idea of, a simple life, it's just not, there's a lot to it now.
Yeah.
And, we had 3 tractors and, maybe 200 acres and just that, and a few hogs and a few chickens in those days.
Yeah.
You don't see
Yeah.
that very much.
It's definitely fading away.
Yeah, it is. Now, where did you say northeast kind of
Northeast Nebraska, Antelope County. So I went to Neely High School, Neely
Okay.
Oakdale High School. We were kind of halfway, but we were between Neely, Plainview, and Pierce.
Okay.
So
now I
we were
can-
kind
yeah.
of right. Yep,
Now I
right
know
in
what you're
that
talking.
that part, and a lot of row crops. Obviously,
Yeah.
not nearly the ranch land that we have around here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Where And so forgive me, a little weak on the geography
That's
side,
okay.
but where would you have been from like Wayne, America then?
So Wayne would have been probably 90 miles from there. So we were 30 miles from Norfolk.
Okay.
Okay. So, and Wayne is north of Norfolk, about 60 miles, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe 45.
Okay.
So, yeah. So we weren't far from Wayne, America.
Yeah.
And
My sister lives up there.
Okay.
My sister and her husband and her family. So a little familiar.
Wayne's an interesting, I used to teach, and before I came down to Gothenburg to teach, I was offered a job at Wayne. I went up there and interviewed and was offered the job there and didn't take it, came down here.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's an interesting because it's such a college town. When the college is gone, there's nothing going on in Wayne. It's shutting down. So, much of the same all around there, northeast Nebraska. Lots of corn and soybeans. I mean, that's really about in some prairie hay.
Guys feeding cattle and that sort of thing.
Good
A lot of little feedlots.
A lot of feeders. We had some feeder cattle and stuff like that. And so different than when I came down here. I was surprised at the amount of pasture land, just a lot of pasture land that we didn't see. And a little more alfalfa and some of that stuff and there's not as much of that, I don't think, anymore. So,
Yeah, I think some of that used to be huge in the valley here for hay mills and all that kind of stuff.
Haymakers, man.
Right. And alfalfa sub-irrigates pretty well. So with the different canals and the Platte River and all that in here, I mean, that was a really good crop for guys through here. Like you said, with the advancement in dryland technology for corn and beans and all that, hay is maybe not as lucrative as it used to be, but a lot of hay down here. So if I remember right, were you not also a door-to-door encyclopedia salesman for a while?
No,
I thought you were.
No.
You remember back in the day, so the Bible study we used to go to together at Methodist Church.
Okay.
And you had a coffee mug, and wasn't it?
No. It was, I worked for Walsworth Publishing. I did.
Well, I was close.
I didn't sell encyclopedias, but I would go.
What do they publish?
Yearbooks. So I would go to schools and help them produce.
So not encyclopedias.
No, not and not door to door. I wasn't knocking on somebody's. Yeah.
Well, you can't get them all right. What's going on in your world, dude?
This yearbook talk is scintillating.
Yeah, it really is. It was beautiful. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's good though. No,
good times.
No, I did. So I did some of that. I did some sales for a while. And I just didn't like sales. And I've done radio now because I was off for a while. I did some government stuff. I thought I would try my hand in government. And now I'm doing radio again.
And you don't have to say too much, but like the government side just didn't specifically enjoy it, or just did what you wanted to do and time to move on, or what?
It's at some point in my life, in all of our lives, we realize what we're good at and what we're not great at. Yeah. And I knew I could talk. I wanted to help people out, and I figured out that I could probably do that as good being a cheerleader for them on radio than I could trying to do economic development. And so, but I got a great opportunity for a few years of doing economic development in Lexington, and it was good. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
But radio is where I think I needed to be. And so,
good.
So that's something I was going to ask. Maybe what's something on the radio side that maybe the general public doesn't see? I mean, we probably all have what we think radio's like, but maybe what are some of the things that go on radio that maybe we don't think about?
Well, there's a lot of technology to it now, obviously. So it used to be that if a commercial came in, we would plug in a commercial, we would do this, and now we can do it all with a lot of technology. A lot of stations that you listen to today, in fact, most of them around here, if you're listening, it's all pre-recorded stuff.
Okay.
One of the things that 880 has taken a lot of pride in is that we're live, and we have somebody sitting behind the mic almost all day long.
Okay.
And so if something happens, if
severe weather outbreak,
which is my favorite thing to do, it's just so exciting.
Very thankful for that.
Yeah. And that's what KRVN was built on. It was the reason KRVN came into existence was because of the blizzards of 48 and 49.
Okay.
Because people didn't know when the next blizzard was coming. You can imagine, we can look at our phone now and go, and folks would go to, they'd have a nice day, so they'd try to get to town. And
Yeah.
before they got home, another blizzard came in.
I was gonna say, how
They
many
get
times
stuck.
in March is it 50 and sunny 2 days before a nasty blizzard?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't see it coming.
Right.
I don't.
And so a group of farmers got together and said, we need a way to get information out. And so the Farm Bureau, Farmers Union, and some other groups got together and said, let's have a radio station. And so that's one of the things that we do. And that's really fun, being able to do that. But a lot of places, it's recorded, so they can't give you that right away stuff.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about that.
So when I'm listening to Cammy, that's something I've wondered for
Mhm.
years. The song list you choose, I mean, how does that come to be?
Well, we have a program director. Tyler Cavalli is the
Okay.
program director for Cammy. And so he will choose. And so, but there's sort of an algorithm. There's sort of a formula. Like, for instance, during my show, it's no repeat. So you'll
Okay.
never hear a song repeat during that. But they will try to play so they don't get a whole lot of the same stuff. Today, for whatever reason, John Connolly played 4 times, which
Yeah.
is unusual.
Yeah. Okay.
So they usually try to figure that all out and get a mix of different folks.
Because I kind of
different
noticed
types.
that, like Cammy, the classic country, maybe like Gone Crazy by Alan Jackson. It's in
Mhm.
rotation for a month, and then it's kind of
Then it goes away.
it kind of goes away, and they kind
Yep.
of there's some songs that which I enjoy. I mean, I was like, oh, I haven't heard that song in a while. Well, I get to hear it again that week,
Right.
but it's not there so long that I'm just like, okay, let's
Burnout. And
Yeah.
we used to, there's some stations, especially top 40 popular
Yeah,
stuff
the new
that
one.
plays a lot.
Yeah.
There was a certain station we would say hits 1 through 6, because they would kind of play the same stuff over and over. We're lucky with a classic situation. We got lots to choose from.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a rotation that
Okay.
it goes in. And there for a while, KRVN, we stopped playing music and now we play it again.
Yeah, on 880. Yep.
So
Remember
880,
that.
we've got some music in the afternoons and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't help me in the morning though. I still got to fill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. So you're talking about KRVN and 880. So I grew up southeast Nebraska.
Yep.
And about the time it got dark out, they flipped the big switch at KRVN and they went off the air.
Mhm.
Not here, but they cut the power
Push it.
that in around February we couldn't pick up
Oh,
the signal
okay.
anymore.
Okay.
Saying you can't. And did I ever explain to you why that takes place?
I think you did, but go ahead.
It's an interesting thing because AM radio amplitude modulation is what it's called. It bounces. So AM towers are short. So they bounce off the ground, they go to the stratosphere and they bounce off. They go boom, boom,
Okay.
boom, boom. And so typically AM can go very long ways. We are the biggest that you can be as an AM station on 880. We're 50,000 watts.
Yeah, the blowtorch, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's 50,000 pound gorilla.
Oh, yeah.
But what happens is because they're so big at night, we have to change our pattern. Should not be in somebody else's way.
Okay.
So 880 WCBS out of New York has that frequency. So at night they push west. So we can't be on top of each other. So we push west at night.
Okay.
And so
So it just travels better at night.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah, but we can't pick up New York 880.
no, you really can't.
So you just send it our way.
I know. We've talked about
All right. Anyway.
And I
We're
remember you telling us last time we were together that one night things were right. It went to Sweden or something
Yep.
like that.
Somebody in Scandinavia picked
Yeah.
us up.
That's crazy.
But you
Hello,
can't-
Scandinavia.
Yeah, hello.
If you're listening.
Hello, Stockholm. But when I'm doing, if I'm doing a football game at night, they can hear us clear as a bell in Utah.
Oh my goodness.
And I went down to Texas one night. I picked up KRVN all the way through the Panhandle, down
That's
towards
incredible.
San Angelo and stuff
Really?
like that. It's really amazing
That's amazing.
and a little bit intimidating sometimes.
Yeah,
because you
sure.
think
Yeah,
about
but
how
they
many-
don't call them the best farm station in the nation
best
for nothing.
darn farm station in the nation.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
And we're the only one owned by farmers and ranchers, and so we should be. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I just take the muffler off and let it rip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Right.
yeah. FCC gets a little grouchy about it.
Yeah.
Now
The
we
FCC won't let me be.
exactly.
Oh, let me be
Oh,
me.
Eminem, nice. I did not
A
realize.
staple on KRVN.
Yeah, I didn't realize the Farmer 10 podcast.
We're
did that.
diversified.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Well, Jay-Z later. But so the interesting things in FM, like the river, is 100,000 watts. So it's bigger, actually, but it's FM, which I don't remember formulated. I don't remember.
Fancy modulation.
I think so. I think it's Massey Ferguson thing we talked about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's all line of sight.
Oh, okay.
So eventually it just dissipates.
That makes sense.
I see. Yep.
So even though those big on at Johnson Lake, those big towers, those are
Makes sense why I go through Hiles in some vehicles, I lose it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
So, all right, and I don't know that I necessarily believe this, but do you ever wonder if like a stray 880 beam gets sent out somewhere and it either bounces off something else later and comes back, or let's say there was other life out there, which I do not believe. But if there was, and all of a sudden they get this weird, like let's say it hits a space rock just right, and all of a sudden for a little blip in time, we pick up Dave Thorell again.
Wouldn't that be something?
And we're like, well, he hasn't been on the air in 10 years, or whatever it is.
I've never thought about that.
No, okay. Well, you can think about that later.
So it hits. So what you're saying
a lot
is,
of time on that.
yeah. Let's go back for a moment. So it hits a wormhole. So somehow,
Yeah.
880 has hit a wormhole.
Yep.
And Dave Thorell is there along with whoever might be. It could be a little Mike Laporte.
Yes.
Or
Yeah. Let's
Dewey
say
Nelson. Maybe
Right.
all of a sudden Don Colvin.
So you're saying aliens might come and it's like, and now here's the rest of the story.
yeah.
Paul Harvey is on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like it.
For maybe Stafford D. Thompson.
Stafford
right?
Thompson could come on. Yeah.
But just for that little, a part of a transmission got snipped out.
Wouldn't
and
that be
sent.
something?
Yeah.
Sometimes
You spend too much time in the truck by
You
yourself.
really- Jake has spent a lot of time. Jake's mind goes a lot of places, right? But every once in a while, if I'm right before the news, I'll have a break and I'll be talking about something I know the news is coming up. Every once in a while, I'll channel a little Paul Harvey and say, "Stand by for news."
Oh yeah, I like
nice.
that.
Like
I
that.
like that.
And I'm getting old enough now that a lot of people won't
They're
see
like,
that
"What?"
I'm copywriting that. So it's fine.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's something for you to think about
I'll think
on your
about
own time.
I will.
Yeah.
I
On your
will.
own time.
On
We
my
got
own
other
time.
stuff to
Yeah,
talk
we
about. So I suppose, like anything else, the greatest, improvement has just been the jump in technology.
I think so. And obviously that comes with good things and bad things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like, we had power, somebody ran into a transformer in Lexington and the power went out and it killed off our internet. And then things get really interesting.
Okay.
Then you're making stuff up for a while.
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Yeah, because you can't get
Now
you
for the
can't-
weather. It's pretty
Yeah, look outside.
sunny.
Pretty
Should be a 50% chance of sunny later. All right. Yeah.
But we're monitoring a lot of things with technology. I still, the day I remember the most is January 6th. And
sure.
when we saw it on TV happening, and it was my airtime at that time was 2 to 6. And so I said, all right, we got to decide what we're going to do here.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about all the goofy stuff we talk about. We need to talk about this. But we were talking to Jeff Fortenberry, who is the senator, a representative from Nebraska at the time, live when he was hiding. He couldn't tell us where he was hiding.
No kidding.
And how emotional that was. And that was technology is amazing, not to mention being able to see radars when there were 4 or 5 tornadoes over Farnham. Not that was it Eustis, or was it Eustis? I can't remember.
No, Farnham had a bunch.
17. Yeah. And
19,
so we're able to see those and we're able to go, okay, this is what's happening there. Yes. What was that?
You need to get closer to your mic.
Oh, I'm
You're,
sorry.
You're fading.
I'm fine.
Much like the
We need
880
to-
signal after dark.
We
Yeah.
need to work on our hand signals. We were just
Yeah.
we're over.
I don't know
on
what
this
that meant.
podcast.
It was this. So I apologize.
Fly on the coffee or get close to the mic. We just can't nail it.
I remember hearing a story once upon a time, and not that 880 would play anything that needed a radio edit, but I remember them talking about if there was a part in a song that needed to be edited, they would snip it out, they would flip it over, they would paste it back in so that the duration of the song was still correct. But as it played through, it played backwards. So I mean, whatever that part that needed to be edited was just blah, blah, and so you didn't hear what it was, but that way the song was still if it was supposed to be 3 minutes and 27 seconds, it still was.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, just crazy stuff like that.
Well, and that's what they used to do. They literally would snip it, they'd cut it, and then they would tape them back together. And
Isn't that
stuff
bizarre?
Like that. Oh,
Wow.
I can't even imagine the old reel-to-reel machines. And
I mean, the whole thing sounds barbaric now. When you think about it. Like,
does.
I mean, we got a couple of clowns in Gothenburg, Nebraska,
can do
doing a
this.
podcast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's crazy.
Speaking of KRVN, do you suppose they want to sponsor the podcast?
I can sure ask him.
Okay. Do you
But
think?
I think you guys are going to need to come on my show a few times,
Done.
and then so we can get the information out,
Yeah.
and talk to people, and then it's going to go huge.
Let us know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think Adam Smith listens to the podcast?
I don't know.
No. Well,
Maybe
he should.
He should. I don't know why he would.
Well,
I don't know why he would.
we'll send a big hi out to Adam. And
Sure.
Yeah, if
Hi,
he's
Adam.
listening. Hi. Yeah, how are you?
Adam. How you doing?
He probably doesn't remember. He actually had the opportunity to hire me once.
know.
And he turned it down. Can you believe?
No, I sure can't.
That's,
Maybe that was a good choice. Hey, maybe he should give him more credit for foresight.
maybe. I don't know. There's some foresight there, but no, I can't. I can't imagine where you wouldn't fit in. I mean, it would be.
Yeah,
I think we can make it happen.
Yeah, I told him I'd wash dishes even. I didn't care. I needed,
No.
and he's like, sorry, I don't got anything. So I guess the grass was all mowed, the dishes were all washed, and
I told this to Jared that I still will occasionally. I have a hotkey that every once in a while before a Jerry Reed song, I'll play your son. It says Jake's hotkey. Right there.
that's good stuff.
Yeah,
That was a good time.
Amos Otis coming on
yeah.
right before it. I love it.
Oh man, yeah,
was a
that's
good
good
time.
stuff. That's
Those are
good
good times.
stuff. I don't know. We have had a lot of fun along the way, and so you would not wish anything to be different or changed, because I've done a lot of good stuff, since then. But I have thought about that off and on. Like, I wonder what that'd be like, now. Maybe everybody out there is glad I'm not on it. So
I think it
That's
would
probably
be.
fair.
I think it would be interesting.
it would be.
It would have to
something.
be a long, because there for a while, didn't we do a couple conversations?
Yeah, we
You had a few ag
Yep.
insights that we would talk about. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, and
but
I don't even remember
I
what
used
we
to have them
called that
recorded.
segment. Yeah.
I think it was something Jake's Take or something
Yeah,
like that. I don't know. Fairly good podcast.
Oh, that's
hey,
solid.
that was
Yeah,
probably
I
the
like
one
that.
I said.
Well, yeah, you just you tell us when we'll come down
All right,
there, and
we'll do it.
I hope stand by for increased ratings.
Oh, sure.
On the 880
won't
side.
be able to control.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have approximately 7 listeners, and so
Listen, I heard you about your survey that you did where you had the. I think you had 2 outstanding. You had 2 people
2
say
responses.
2 responses. They were both yours. So
well, and we didn't realize it at the time, but I think Jared and I both voted. So I think that is the
good work. Good work.
Yeah, that is something special.
Well, you just don't know,
man.
and that's it. And that's radio. You're sitting there in a room by yourself, talking. You
That
have
would
no
be tough.
idea if anybody's listening.
Or the feedback.
Yeah. So it is. It can be at times a lonely little venture.
Yeah, and you'll understand this because you've done enough of it. I do enjoy public speaking, and I enjoy being in front of a crowd or an audience or whatever. And I've said that before. We might be speaking to 200 people right now, but I don't know that.
Sure.
And there's a certain energy that comes with a crowd of people. If I'm going to talk to 20 people, I just as soon talk to 200 or 2,000. Like, that doesn't
I'm with
bother
you.
me.
Yeah.
And so part of it actually is kind of hard. Like you said, you get inside these walls here, and it's, I don't know, it's harder.
I mean, we could have lost the crowd at 40 minutes ago.
Sure.
And I'm not so sure we haven't. Okay, so I was looking this up on my phone. I finally got it pulled up. Here is a list, and I don't know if this is all inclusive or not, but we are going to shout out some of the top cities that are listeners, and some of them may be surprising.
Okay. I'd like to hear this.
All right, so and now this is strictly on Apple Podcasts. This is where this information's coming from.
Okay.
And so I don't know how they know, and I don't know. I assume there's probably hubs. And so, like, you may be listening in rural southeast
sure.
Nebraska, but you're still tied to the Omaha hub, I suppose.
Mm.
I don't know how that works exactly. But, all right. Omaha,
Sure.
Kansas City,
Okay.
Cambridge,
Okay.
Yeah.
Chicago,
Same plane.
Lincoln, San Jose. What's up, San
California?
Jose? California.
See, they were listening until you guys were dogging on
You
the
know,
Cali.
Yeah.
I think they still are. They love
Man.
us.
Are they next to San Diego?
No.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
San Jose. Is,
Oh, they're in the
that's-
Central Valley, aren't they?
That's San Francisco. The big
Okay.
earthquake during the World
The World
Series many
Series?
years
Oh,
ago,
yeah.
that was
Okay.
centered in San
Okay.
Jose.
Denver,
Okay.
Paragold.
What is that?
Pardon me?
Paragold.
Hmm.
You know, that's
Sorry.
over there by that.
I got nothing. I got
You know, if you're listening and you're near that town,
Hello, Paragon.
yeah, and write the show. Let us know.
Or
Is,
Paragold
does
is.
it? Do we have?
Does that have a
we don't
state
have a
with it?
state?
No, it's just listing towns.
Okay.
Hawthorne,
Okay.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Miami, Orlando.
Seriously.
Okay, so
Hmm.
shout out to the folks in South Dakota. We've got some friends up there. He has got a brother, I believe, that's down in Florida that listens to us. And so that
No
may be
kidding.
where that comes from.
Awesome.
Atlanta, Tulsa, Cozad.
Thank goodness. We still get the local. I mean, radio's local. Let's
Yeah.
face it.
Kearney, Norfolk. I'm not sure if that's Virginia or Nebraska. It doesn't break it down.
If it's Norfolk
Yeah.
or Norfolk.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
that's true.
Norfolk is Nebraska, even though they spell it the same.
I was going to
Yes.
say, because it was a spelling error, wasn't it?
It was. That
Yeah.
was thank
They
you,
wanted it to be
thank you,
Norfolk.
railroad. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the North Fork
Oh,
of the Elkhorn
yeah.
River.
Don't get us going on the railroad.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry.
Wapakoneta.
That's-
Wamp.
I might know
Fucking
who's
hell.
there. That shout out to the Wilkers.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
They call it
Wilkers.
WAPOC for short.
Okay.
Wap-
That's out in Ohio,
I've heard
West
of
Central.
that. I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
What's
Okay.
up, Wapak?
We have friends in
Yeah.
St. Mary's and the
Shout out to
neighboring
Wapak.
towns. Wapakoneta, one of my
Yeah,
favorite.
Wapakoneta.
What do you
And
think?
it's
what do you
actually
think
the
the
home-
mascot is for the Wapakoneta
The
High
Warriors.
School. I like it.
The Wapakoneta Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Wapakoneta
Birthplace of
Warriors.
Neil Armstrong.
No.
Hey.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I like,
I like that.
That's great. Should have been the astronauts.
They have
That's
a
why
they have a
Oh, yeah.
The
they have a whole
Rockets.
museum
The
there
Ro-
for the moon landing.
Rocket
Man,
Man.
Rocket Man. Elton John.
That's awesome. All right.
That's good. I like it. I like it.
Van Wert.
That's the same area.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Very good.
No, they
Thank
listen.
you for our Ohio geography here today.
Yeah. I don't even know how to say this town. It's Mauston.
Auston.
Yeah.
That's like Maston. Maston?
Yes, that's
Maston?
how I would say it.
Okay.
But I.
Huh.
eh.
Interesting.
Mesa, as in Arizona. Yeah. Oh,
Very
yeah.
nice.
Now, hang on for this. You ready?
All right.
Anaheim,
Nice.
Mm.
San Diego,
There we go.
Hey,
There's
yeah,
my people.
hometown kid.
My people.
Salt Lake City, Seattle, and Anchorage.
Oh,
Which,
Alaska. Hello.
Yes, hello,
Yeah.
Alaska. And I think probably actually, well, I won't say the name on here just in case, but we've got some friends that live up there. It was actually one of Erin's roommates in college. Her and her family live
Okay.
up, and they're probably pulling off that Anchorage side. So,
Nice.
anyway,
Oh, thank you.
man.
Thank you, listeners.
Well connected.
yeah. So
Yeah,
what's
that's
up?
awesome.
Like,
That
we
is
appreciate you
awesome.
guys. As we have said before, we don't intentionally offend people, but if you hang around long enough, you will be
We'll get
offended
there.
in the order.
Yeah,
of-
you've had a couple burning Ohio comments. I was like, oh boy,
Oh, are they?
the Wilkers might pick that up.
Maybe they're not listening anymore.
Well, I don't know.
What is there to? I better not.
Yeah, you be good.
I won't.
Be
say
good.
it. What's, I was just curious.
So yeah, so that's fun though. We
Okay.
like that. We like
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
That is awesome. It's good. You know, the reach is amazing. And
Yeah, it is.
it is. And yes, it is very amazing. I never really thought we would be. I didn't know what to expect, right? And it's been kind of fun. We also have listeners in New Zealand, Russia, and Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Germany must be for real because they, or at least
Consistent.
yes.
Yeah.
And so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
maybe it's somebody that is in the Air Force or something in Ramstein. That
That's
wants
good.
I wondered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
anyway,
where my son was stationed there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of fun. So yeah, anyway,
Awesome.
so thank you to everybody that is listening. We
Absolutely.
certainly
Appreciate it.
And
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
and happy new year to you. Yeah, wherever you might be. You want to do a BSB quick then?
Sure. Read it from our sponsor here.
Yeah.
This section of BS&B is sponsored by Dyslexics Ambidextrous.
Oh, I like it.
This is it's a group where you can get together and with not mentioning your name. So if you want to contact them, it's 1-800-585-4848 or 8484. I'm not sure, but thank you to Dyslexics Ambidextrous.
Yep.
All right, so this edition of BSB goes to root beer. So what brand of root beer do you guys prefer? This is our three topics for buy one, sell one, burn it to the ground. Barks, A&W, or Mug.
Oh, yeah. Barks.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a tight one.
that is tough. To me, I feel like A&W is the king of root beers. They're the Budweiser of root beers.
That's a fair assessment.
I feel like
It's
that.
the most
and
recognizable brand.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I feel like Bargs is the cheap cousin. They're the RC Cola of root beer.
Oh, no.
No?
You think?
I don't know if it's Mugs or Bargs. One of those two
Yeah.
is.
So Mugs would be Pepsi's version.
Okay.
Barks is Coke's version.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
This is tough because there has been
They're
very,
all three good.
I don't have a real problem with it.
and I really enjoy root beer. There's been very few root beers that I do not like,
Yep.
and I will seek it out. And so I don't know. A little of it depends. So I like to overcomplicate this segment.
Yes. Okay, here we
It
go.
shocks me. This shocks me.
Here we go. Here comes all the contingencies.
So, but I'm going to make this one pretty simple. That answer, for the most part, depends on just where I am and what's available.
I think I think
Okay.
recency bias plays a role
Yeah.
in this because I don't know where you can. A&W, I don't think is as easy to find.
True.
It can be more of a challenge. Okay, if you lined all three up and said they're all three available, you can take what you want. If you're in a truck stop that has them all,
Right.
I will probably take A&W first.
Mhm.
I will probably take Barks second,
Okay.
and then I would take Mug third. So I guess I'm buying A&W, selling Barks, and burning Mug to the ground. But that's only because I have.
You have to
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah, I'm being
Yep.
forced to choose.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they all have their own certain variety.
I think so.
They're all good, but they all have their own thing. So I think I'm buying Mug, and this is
Oh,
mostly nostalgia. Runza, growing up, PepsiCo. They
Yeah.
always had Mug,
Yeah,
so I'd
sure.
get a Mug at Runza, and it always. I think it's a little fizzier and foamier, and I'm a big fan of carbonation. So
okay.
I think just buying Mug for that sake, probably selling A&W, and I got to burn Barks just because I have to choose one.
Yeah.
I won't turn any of them down.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, I would say A&W again, and that's nostalgia because I remember the A&W
Yeah.
drive-ins and some of those kinds of things.
Yep.
So that's probably my buy. I like Pepsi better
Yeah.
than Coke, so I'll
Same
probably
here.
go.
A little
Did
bit
you
of
say
rivalry
Mug?
there.
Did you say
Yep,
Mug?
Mugs, Pepsi.
So I'll go Mugs for selling, Bargs for.
I
Write
heard
it down.
Jake's twitching over
What's
here.
the matter, Jake?
I heard that Pepsi better than Coke comment.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like it better.
yeah,
I'm
yes.
sorry.
Yeah,
That's
well,
something we can relate to.
it's been fun,
One time it was good to come in, guys.
but
Thanks.
I guess it's over now. No, A&W fast food restaurant. Love it. I
pretty
love
good.
that. There is still
Can
one
you-
in Ogallala.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yes, and there's probably some other ones around. I think there's one in Columbus, and there's one in part of the Omaha area. It's not Omaha, but it's one of the suburbs, I think. I will travel a fair distance to eat it in A&W. I just really, really like them. But A&W root beer on tap
That's
at
what
an
I've heard.
A&W.
That's what I've heard.
Whew,
Well,
so
that's
good.
a Fountain
So good.
Pepsi. You look at
True.
Fountain Pepsi. That's the best.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't understand that. But
You're right. I
there
would.
used to be an A&W in North Platte,
It
right?
used to be, yeah.
Right down the middle between Jeffers and...
It was sometime in high school because
Yeah,
I knew I
I
could
kinda
drive,
remember.
and I'm like, I've never been to AW. I want to try it, and I was right about when it closed down.
Did they have the car hops at A&W? Was
Not
it sort of like a Sonic that way?
Boy, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm glad to hear there's still some.
Yeah,
around.
there's still a little bit. So, yeah, good times. All right. Well, we're kind of getting wound down.
Sure.
We've
Yep.
been going in a little over an hour and
Okay.
15-ish.
Good
It's
time.
good enough to put people to sleep.
I
Yeah.
would think.
Yeah.
If you're still riding along with us, we certainly
God bless you.
yeah. we certainly appreciate that. We've had a lot of fun tonight. And
Absolutely.
yeah, if you want to comment on anything you've heard, you can certainly comment on any of the platforms where you're listening to this, or you can sure write the show at the Farmer Tan Podcast farmertan@gmail.com. Or as we've talked before, the King James version would be the Farmertan podcast.
Thy
No, that's different.
No, it's different. Okay,
Yeah, different vowels in there. Really, sometimes Y is like that lazy guy that shows up to work when he feels like it. But the weather's nice. I'm going fishing. I'm not coming in today.
Today.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what? We didn't have enough vowels. We had one that sometimes.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
fine,
it.
whatever.
That's
Anyway. But feel free to like, share, subscribe. We hate to grovel for attention, but that does help the algorithms out, and that puts us in front of more people, and that gets better content probably.
And if you ever want to hear Scott without us, there's every day in KRVN, 880 in the mornings, and noon out, like the noon area on Cammy, right?
10 to 2.
100.1.
10 to 2
10
on
to
100.1 or on KRVN.com worldwide.
Hey, all right. That sounds great. Scott, thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely.
It's been fun.
I bet we'll do it again.
I think we should. Can we keep the tea kettle?
Yes, we will leave that
because
there.
we really only had one accident with it, and I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I think that would be a great idea.
Okay.
All right. We are going to close this thing down. We hope you have a good new year. And by the time you listen to this, it will be the new year. So, yeah, looking forward to what 2025 will bring to the table. And until then, we will see you guys later. Bye.